Chapter 1: The Leaderboard War and the Disastrous Distraction Kiss. The full moon festival always smelled like trouble. Roasted caramel nuts, cheap alcohol, fireworks smoke, and overheated alphas thickened the air into something any sensible Omega would avoid. Any Omega with common sense would have stayed home. Élan Rivera, unfortunately, had Mara. "Élan, drink this!" Mara shouted over the music, already pressing a flimsy plastic cup into his hand. Élan eyed the suspicious liquid. "What is it?" "Confidence," she declared. "Also possibly ethanol. Don't ask questions." "I should never have left my apartment," Élan thought grimly. "I should have faked an illness. I should have claimed my heat was in 2 days and I was in preheat." Even though his heat cycle was basically a cryptid, rare, mild, the stuff of medical footnotes, he could have used it as an excuse. His Omega scent was practically a rumor. His heats felt more like a 3-day cold than a raging inferno. In medical terms, unremarkable. In hindsight, that should have been a warning. He sniffed the drink. "Mara, this is battery acid." But he still chugged it, feeling it burn a path through his throat and into his soul. "Oh well," he muttered, coughing. "I'm already here." "And yet you're still standing," Mara said cheerfully. "Now let's win a prize." She dragged him toward the glowing monolith of the arcade plaza, the Dragon Punch Championship machine. Lights flashed in a riot of color, crowds gathered, and somewhere Élan's better judgment died. He discovered, several shots and a lot of cheering later, that he had excellent aim and an intense desire to win the huge crescent moon plushie dangling above the machine. It was almost as tall as he was and looked like the perfect future hug buddy. With Mara's relentless encouragement and his own competitive streak fully unleashed, Élan climbed the leaderboard one punch at a time. The machine roared, the digital scoreboard flickered, and finally, at the very top of the glowing list of names appeared Élan R. Bright, glorious, smug. "Behold me," he thought, a little drunk on victory and alcohol, "your king, your monarch of questionable achievement but undeniable skill." "Hit it again," Mara shrieked, clapping like a maniac. "Show them who owns this machine." "I swear to God, if you scream in my ear again," Élan started. "Wait, no, keep doing it. I need the ego boost." He punched. The machine blared triumphantly. New high score, Élan R. A ripple moved through the crowd. "Ooh, that Omega's good." "Damn, bro." Yes, worship me, mortals," Élan thought, chest puffed with ridiculous pride. "Tonight I ascend to arcade divinity and take the moon home." "You're glowing," Mara informed him. "That's sweat." Tiny footsteps pattered across the floor behind him. "Uncle Cass, look, dragon game," a small voice squealed. Élan turned and nearly had a spiritual awakening. First came a little girl, eyes bright, holding a glowing candy stick. Behind her, a woman with a kind smile and a festival tote bag overflowing with prizes. And then him. A tall, handsome man stepped into view. Dark brown hair catching the festival lights, gray eyes with flickers of blue studying the area with quiet alertness. A dark blue bomber jacket hugged broad shoulders over a fitted shirt, matching trousers and combat boots. His posture was straight, his presence commanding. The kind of alpha who seemed to make the air reorganize itself politely around him. Élan never seen anyone that attractive in his life. He didn't know the name yet, Cassian Vale, commander of the Adon Air Force, but if he had, it might have stopped him from doing something catastrophically stupid. Maybe. "That is a top alpha if I've ever seen one," Mara whispered, eyes wide. "He'll probably break the high score with just one punch." No, Élan's mind shrieked. What is a high-tier alpha doing here? Why does he look like a security breach in a romance novel? "Punch the dragon, Uncle Cass, please," the little girl begged. "All right," he replied, his voice surprisingly soft, even shy around the child. "One try." "No, not one try," Élan panicked. "One try from him is like 50 tries from a mortal. Please take your giant gene-enhanced arms back to your family." Cassian's sister caught Élan's eye. "Is this game fun?" she asked friendly. "Fun?" croaked Élan. "Fun? Well, yes, I'm fine. The weather is, I need to go lie down." Cassian stepped closer to the machine beside him. Even the machine seemed to whine, as if sensing its impending doom. He set his niece down. She bounced on her feet. "Do it hard, Uncle Cass." "Oh no, sweet child, please don't encourage this kaiju of a man," Élan thought desperately. Cassian rolled his shoulder, preparing to strike. The crowd murmured, recognizing him. "Isn't that Commander Vale? We're about to witness a massacre." Okay, Élan's thoughts spiraled. Think, Élan. I need to protect my score, my legacy, my honor. He cannot punch this machine. I forbid it. He needs to be stopped. A quiet, reckless corner of his brain offered a suggestion. Kiss him. "No," Élan snapped internally. "Kiss him. Stop giving me terrible ideas." "Élan, he's starting," Mara hissed at his side. "Élan, he's starting." The machine hummed ominously, its lights pulsing as if drawn into Cassian's gravitational field. Cassian planted his feet, pulled his fist back, muscles tensing. The machine shivered. Several alphas stepped back. An omega swooned somewhere in the distance. This is it, Élan thought. This is how my legacy dies, at the hand of a beautiful stranger and his powerful forearms. Cassian inhaled, ready to strike. Élan launched himself forward on pure, catastrophic instinct. "Élan, no!" Mara screamed. He grabbed Cassian's collar and kissed him square on the mouth. Silence hit the plaza like a shockwave, followed by a collective gasp. Someone dropped their popcorn. Cassian inhaled softly, startled, lips parting against Élan's. For a heartbeat, the commander, one of the most controlled, disciplined alphas in the city, froze completely. Utterly destroyed. "Oh my God, I just kissed a stranger," Élan's mind exploded. "Why am I like this? Why is life like this? Why is his mouth nice?" Cassian's sister choked on air. "Cass, you're..." "Mommy, why is Uncle Cass being attacked?" his little girl asked, baffled. Cassian drew a breath, deep, resonant, like something had clicked inside him, something old and instinctive. "Convergence," he whispered. The machine, abandoned, timed out with a sad little buzz. Game over, score reset. Élan jerked back, eyes wide. "Sorry, strategic maneuver, nothing personal, goodbye forever." He bolted. He snatched the giant moon plushie from the stunned employee and sprinted into the crowd like a startled woodland creature fleeing a forest fire. "Élan, come back, you chaos gremlin!" Mara shouted after him. Cassian lifted a hand and touched his lips. His expression narrowed, stunned, something sharp and dawning behind his eyes. "Uncle Cass, you lost," his niece said solemnly, tugging his sleeve. "Yes," he replied slowly. "Apparently I did." But what Cassian lost in points, he had just gained in something far more complicated. An Omega. One who was currently running for his life.
Chapter 2. Viral Mornings and Unwanted Alphas. The next morning, Élan woke to the sound of his phone having a nervous breakdown. It buzzed nonstop across his nightstand, vibrating closer to the edge with every new notification. He groaned and dragged a pillow over his head. "If this isn't life-threatening," he mumbled, "let me perish." His bedroom door burst open. "It is life-threatening," Mara snapped. "You are viral." "Oh no," Élan thought. "Oh no. How? What did I do?" His brain rewound in queasy flashes. The festival, the machine, the kiss. No, if this is about last night, I swear to the moon I will fake my death. "Behold," Mara said dramatically, shoving her phone into his face. On screen, a romantic slow-motion video played. The moment Élan grabbed Cassian's collar, the startled widening of the alpha's eyes, the impact of their mouths. Someone had added a soft focus filter, sparkles, and dramatic piano music. "Why is there a soft focus filter?" Élan yelped. "Who added music? Why does this look like a confession scene?" "It gets worse," Mara said. "Read the comments." He squinted at the scrolling text. "Who is he? Find the Omega. Is that Commander Vale? Where can I buy this full series?" "What full series?" Élan shrieked. "Take it away!" But the damage was done. Someone added a scent filter and a heartbeat track. Very dramatic, very illegal. And from the views and comments, I'd say half the city's alphas have now sampled your scent signature, the one you didn't even know you had. Perfect, Élan thought miserably. I accidentally fragrance-bombed the city with my face. A sharp knock rattled their front door. Mara and Élan froze. They stared at each other in horror. "Who would be here this early?" Élan whispered. Mara held up a warning finger and tiptoed out of his room. Élan, curiosity and dread warring in his chest, followed her anyway and stopped by his bedroom door, peeking down the hall. Male voices drifted through the door. "Omega, you safe in there?" someone called. "Do you need protection, sweetheart?" another chimed. "I brought muffins," a third yelled. "Come out and marry me." The neighbors, unimpressed by pastry-based proposals at 9 in the morning, started shouting back threats about calling the authorities. Mara went very still. "If one more alpha breathes near this door, I will declare war." I want to die, Élan thought. Immediately, tragically, preferably in a way that deletes social media and resets time. These alphas are thirsty, Élan. Thirsty like a dry sponge in the Sahara. "Help me barricade the door," he hissed. "With what?" she whispered, already glancing around. "The table, She cut herself off, then sighed. "Oh boy, we're so in trouble." They settled on the big shoe cabinet by the entrance and started dragging it toward the door as quietly as possible. The commotion outside shifted. Heavy footsteps, arguing voices, the muffled bark of officers trying to disperse the crowd. The ruckus suddenly dimmed, replaced by a lower, controlled voice giving firm orders. Mara and Élan exchanged the confused look as the doorbell rang again. A deep, authoritative voice spoke from the other side, clearer this time. "Élan Rivera, this is Commander Vale of the Aiden Air Force." "No," Élan's mind screamed. "Why is an army commander at my door? Are things that bad? My soul is screaming." Before he could stop her, Mara ran to open the door. And there he was. The alpha from last night stood in their doorway, very tall and very real, looking even more devastatingly handsome in casual wear. The hallway light caught in his gray-blue eyes. His posture was straight, his presence calm and heavy. "Kill me," Élan thought. "Kill me now. Why is he handsome at 9 a.m.? Is that even legal?" "May I come in?" Cassian asked. "No," Élan blurted. "Yes," Mara said at the same time. They stared at each other, mortified. Cassian's mouth twitched, but his voice remained polite. "Then I'll stay out here. You are in danger." "From what?" Élan asked, desperately clinging to dignity. "From them." Élan scurried barefoot to the doorway, hair fluffed, clad in bright yellow pajamas. Careful not to brush against the massive alpha, he leaned past him to peek into the hallway. Several alphas were being firmly escorted away from police officers. Some clutched flower arrangements or bakery boxes. One caught sight of Élan's head peeking out and tried to surge forward. "How pretty! Please marry me!" He was shoved back by an unimpressed officer toward the elevators. Cassian shot them a single, warning look. The group deflated. Élan backed away, hiding behind Mara, pressing a hand to his chest in an attempt to calm his racing heart. "Isn't this too much for a Sunday morning?" he thought frantically. "Why is my luck so bad?" "Boy," Mara whispered under her breath, not taking her eyes on Cassian. "You're doomed." She ushered Cassian inside and shut the door firmly, cutting off the chaos in the corridor. Commander Vale, she shifted into polite hostess mode. What's going on? Your scent has destabilized the district, Cassian said, his gaze settling on Élan. I am here to ensure your safety. What do you mean? Élan asked. There is a video. Only the portion where you assaulted me with a kiss is trending. Your scent seems to have triggered a frenzy among local alphas, and as you can see, your personal information was dug out overnight. Why did I do that? Élan's mind wailed. What assault? It was a strategic move. Mara, fix it. He shot her a desperate look. Congratulations, Mara said dryly. You stupidly kissed an alpha, and now the whole city wants a piece of you. I've arranged to have the video taken down, Cassian continued. It shouldn't be long, but you're not safe here for now. Understood, Élan said quickly. I'll go to my parents' house. Cassian frowned slightly. Will that be safe? It's best if you stay with me. No. The word came out too fast. No, I appreciate the offer, but my parents' community is gated with security. It should be safe there. The idea of staying in close quarters with this dangerously tempting alpha made his skin buzz and his brain malfunction. Absolutely not. Then I will drive you there, Cassian said, tone brooking no argument. Élan opened his mouth to protest, but Cassian's communicator chimed. He answered, listened, and his brows pulled tight. I'll be right down, he said into the device. He turned back to Élan and Mara, still huddled near the sofa. I need to take care of the situation with the police. You have 30 minutes to pack. It's best if your friend doesn't stay here either. I'll be back shortly. Before either of them could react, he was out the door again. The lock clicked. They stared at each other stunned. What in the world just happened? Mara whispered. You tell me, Élan said faintly. Am I still dreaming? Want me to slap you awake? Élan dodged, cupping his cheeks protectively. No, thank you. Then move. We don't have all day.
Chapter 3. The Doorway Showdown. Inside the apartment, chaos reigned. Élan darted from room to room, throwing clothes and essentials into a bag with the frantic focus of someone preparing for an emotional apocalypse. He'd showered, dressed, and was in the middle of trying to remember if chargers counted as survival gear when a soft knock echoed at the door. His heart jumped into his throat. He's back, he called. It hasn't been 30 minutes yet, Mara yelled from the bathroom. He's early? Élan padded to the door, steeling himself. He opened it and came face to face with his worst nightmare. Élan, sweetheart, RYLAN'S said, leaning against the frame as if he owned it. Nope, Élan thought. No thank you. Denied. Rejected. Absolutely not. Nope, multiplied by infinity. Leave, he said flatly. I saw the video, RYLAN'S continued smoothly. Everyone did. What was that kiss? I thought you were done with alphas. You clearly still crave my attention. I crave you leaving, Élan replied. RYLAN'S leaned closer, tone soft and condescendingly intimate. You always react dramatically when you're overwhelmed, darling. Come back to me. I can protect you from all this attention. Oh my God, the audacity, Élan screamed internally. Sir, I left you because you protected me by locking my phone in a cabinet and putting me under constant surveillance. Out loud, he snapped. I don't need your protection, or your presence, or your face in my doorway. You literally caused half of my trust issues. Leave. RYLAN'S jaw tightened. You don't know the danger you're in. I'm in danger because you won't leave, Élan shot back. RYLAN'S expression darkened. He grabbed Élan's wrist. The elevator chimed. Measured, controlled footsteps approached down the hall. The air shifted, pressure tightening, as if gravity itself decided to get serious. Cassian Vale turned the corner. Remove your hand from him, he said, voice polite and razor-sharp. Ooh, Élan thought, thrills racing through his nerves despite the fear. Here we go. I love this part. RYLAN'S smile became a smirk. Commander Vale, what, protecting unclaimed Omegas now? Fortunate timing for you.
I am protecting someone who asked for space, Cassian said, tone flat and cold. Back away. Or what? Rylan taunted. Cassian stepped forward. The floor creaked. Do you want me to show you? He asked quietly. Oh my God, Élan ought. This is better than reality TV. If they start a scent off, I might actually pass out. Please, Rylan scoffed. If Élan wanted you, he wouldn't be hiding behind me. I am not behind you. I am behind the doorframe, like a normal person. Mara's voice carried faintly from inside. I have a frying pan, and I'm not afraid to use it. Rylan rolled his eyes. You're making a mistake, Élan. If you think he can keep you safe, you're delusional. Leave, now. Fine. Rylan gave Élan a lingering look. But when everything falls apart, I'll be waiting. He walked away. The door shut. My God, Élan thought. That was so embarrassing. Why was I enjoying that? Why was that hot? Someone call emotional support. Cassian turned to him. Are you all right? He asked gently. Fine, Élan squeaked. Completely fine. Not at all spiraling into chaos. Everything's normal. Cassian's lips twitched. He let out a soft, strangled chuckle. If you need anything, I am here. Are you ready to leave? Stop being sweet to me, Élan begged internally. I'm going to form attachments. I need to grab a few more things. And Mara is coming with us. Please give us a few more minutes. I'll be waiting by the elevator. Cassian left with precise military efficiency. Mara poked her head out of the bathroom. You kissed a commander, you have 2 alphas fighting over you, and your hair looks like a microwaved croissant. I am a disaster, Élan cried. Yes, she agreed, but you're my disaster. Now fix your hair, you look like a feral squirrel. They managed to pack in just under 20 minutes. Cassian was waiting exactly where he said he would be, by the elevator like a very punctual doom. Downstairs at the curb, a sleek, dark vehicle with military plates idled in the loading zone. Cassian moved ahead to open the trunk, and Élan tried very hard not to notice how his shoulders moved under his jacket. Mara noticed. Mara noticed everything. Oh, that's a nice car, she said innocently. Government funding looks good on you, Commander. Cassian cleared his throat. It's standard issue. Mm-hmm, she said, loading Élan's bag into the trunk. So is being tall, apparently. Élan made a frangled noise. Mara! Cassian, to his credit, pretended not to hear that. They settled inside, Cassian driving, Élan in the front passenger seat, Mara sprawled in the back like she had booked seats for a drama show. The doors sealed with a soft thump. The vehicle hummed to life. Silence stretched for approximately 3 seconds. So, Mara said brightly, leaning forward between the seats. Let's talk about the kiss. No, Élan and Cassian said in unison. Mara grinned. Excellent. Consensus achieved. We're talking about it. Élan stared out the window. It was a strategic maneuver. Cassian's hands tightened minutely on the steering wheel. You call that strategy? Yes, Élan said defensively. I was protecting my high score. Cassian glanced at him just for a heartbeat. By assaulting a stranger mid-punch? You were about to annihilate my legacy, Élan argued. Desperate times, desperate measures. Mara cackled. You tackled a commander with your mouth, Élan. That wasn't a strategy. That was a war crime. It worked, Élan muttered. He lost. Cassian exhaled slowly, like he was trying not to smile. I did lose. The game, at least. Mara gasped theatrically. Wow! Is this a confession that he won something else? Élan slapped a hand over his face. I hate this car. I hate this conversation. I hate my life. Which part? Mara asked sweetly. The part where you're going viral for kissing a top-ranked alpha, or the part where said alpha is now personally escorting you to your parents' house? Both, Élan said, equally, simultaneously, forever. Cassian's voice softened. The video is being taken down. Most mirrors have already been scrubbed. Yeah, about that, Mara said. Was the dramatic piano arranged by the government or the internet gremlins? The internet, Cassian replied dryly. We do not commission romantic edits. Officially. Officially, Mara repeated. I'm hearing a lot of subtext. Élan peeked at Cassian from the corner of his eye. So, that word you said, at the festival, Cassian's jaw flexed. What word? You know, the one you whispered after I ruined your game and your life. Cassian cleared his throat. It was an instinctive reaction. We can discuss it properly when you're settled and safe. Mara hummed. Look at that. Responsible communication, respect for emotional readiness. Definitely not like someone else we know. Élan flinched slightly. Cassian noticed. His hands tightened on the wheel just for a moment. You're not in trouble, Élan, Cassian said quietly. No matter what the city is saying, you're not a problem we have to solve. Stop saying things like that, Élan thought, chest aching. My heart is already filing paperwork to move in with you. You say that now, he muttered. Wait until my parents see the clip. Mara snorted. Your mom is going to pad his pockets with snacks and ask him about grandchildren. She is not, Élan said. She absolutely is, Mara countered. He already has the future son-in-law aura. Look at him. He's practically radiating it. Cassian made a faint, helpless sound that might have been a cough or a smothered laugh. I am not, he began. Commander Vale, do you always let Omegas kiss you in public to protect arcade scores? No, Cassian said immediately. Do you always personally escort them to safe locations afterward? No. Do you usually show up at their door and clear out feral suitors with police backup? Cassian hesitated. Also no. Then congratulations. Élan, you are officially a limited edition situation. Élan slumped in his seat. I hate everything. The city streets gave way to quieter residential zones. Trees appeared. Familiar turns approached. As they neared his parents' gated community, Élan's anxiety shifted from internet disaster to family interrogation. Cassian slowed at the gate, passed security with a quick flash of credentials, and pulled into the driveway of a warm, lived-in house with flower boxes and a slightly crooked mailbox. Last chance to turn around, Élan muttered. You're already home, Cassian said. Something in his tone made Élan's stomach flip. Mara popped her door open the second they parked. I'm going to go warn your parents that an extremely tall, extremely polite alpha is about to ring their bells so they don't scream and call the cops. That would be appreciated, Cassian said. Élan sat there for a second, fingers curled in his seatbelt. Thank you, he said finally, still not looking at Cassian, for all of this. Even the part where you witnessed my entire life collapsing in high definition. I've seen worse, Cassian said lightly. I've never had my game interrupted like that, though. Élan risked a glance at him. Cassian's mouth had the faintest curve. You'll recover from the game. He hesitated. From the kiss? He added before his brain could stop him. Cassian held his gaze. I'm not sure I want to, he said quietly. Élan's thoughts turned into white noise. Mara's voice shrieked from the front porch. Élan, your mom is already making tea. Get in here before she thinks I made you up. Élan jolted. Right, yes, I have to go be parented. He fumbled with the door handle, then paused. You're coming in, right, Cassian? He asked casually. Otherwise, my mother will assume you're an imaginary boyfriend I invented to cope. Cassian blinked once. Then I should come in. Oh, no, Élan thought as he stepped out of the car. I have unleashed him on my parents. This is either the beginning of domestic peace or the prelude to my eternal humiliation. Probably both.
Élan lasted exactly 7 seconds inside his parents' house before regretting every life choice that brought him to this moment. Not because of his parents, no. They were lovely, emotionally stable betas who diffused tension with herbal tea and passive-aggressive biscotti. It was because Cassian Vale walked through the door behind him. The temperature in the entire house changed. His mother, Élan Rivera, kind-faced, gentle, tiny, froze mid-tea pour. Her eyes widened as if she were witnessing the dramatic entrance of a mythological alpha hero. "Oh my," she whispered. His father, a stoic, silent man who rarely reacted to anything except tool sales and playoff hockey, looked Cassian up and down, evaluated his posture, his shoulders, his hands, his boots. He gave a single approving nod, the universal dad signal for acceptable mate candidate detected. Élan nearly died on the spot. "Mama," he squeaked. "Papa, this is Commander Cassian Vale. He's dropping us off." "Tea?" his mother asked, instantly, already setting out a fourth cup. "No," Élan protested. "Yes," Cassian said at the same time, politely. Mara cackled from behind them. "You two are a menace," Élan hissed. "You two are adorable," Mara corrected. "You two are welcome any time," Ilara added warmly, while subtly slipping a basket of homemade muffins into Cassian's hands. "Mother," Élan begged, "stop giving him offerings. He's not a forest guardian spirit." Cassian, holding the basket very carefully, replied, "Thank you, ma'am. These smell wonderful." His father nodded again, slower this time, as if awarding invisible approval points. Mara leaned in and whispered, "Girl, your parents have already adopted him. You are doomed." Élan buried his face in both hands. Cassian stayed only long enough to reassure Élan's parents that the district was safe enough for now, that security sweeps were ongoing, and that Élan was well within protected territory. Ilara clutched his forearm at the door. "Thank you for bringing my boy home safely, Commander. Come back for dinner sometime." Cassian's ears actually turned pink. "I would like that," he said. Élan died for a second time. When the door finally closed behind Cassian and his vehicle rolled away down the street, Élan stood in the foyer, feeling wrung out and strangely warm. His mother pressed a hand to his cheek. "He's very handsome, sweetheart." "Élan, Mama, please." "I'm just observing," she said. "Also, he looked at you like you hung the moon." "Mama!" "And you looked at him like you wanted to push him into a wall in a dramatic novella scene," Mara added helpfully. Élan shrieked and fled to his childhood bedroom. It had been a week since the rescue at his apartment. Élan had been exiled to his parents' house, a safe haven with excellent security and an overwhelming amount of family scent. He worked mostly from home, blessed by the gods of interior design and remote-friendly clients, while Mara handled in-person runs for his studio, picking up samples, meeting contractors, charming suppliers for his house projects. Things had finally started to quiet down. The video had been taken down the same day he fled. The alpha mob had dispersed. He still got occasional weird calls and suspicious follow requests, but nothing that screamed citywide incidents anymore. Well, except for the handsome commander, who had apparently decided Élan's safety was his new full-time hobby. Cassian had already visited Élan's parents' home 3 times that week to check security, which mostly involved making Élan's mother swoon and Élan's nervous system short-circuit. And fine, yes, Élan was also a little smitten. Just a little. He was also, very quietly, grateful for the buffer Cassian provided between him and his past. Because RYLAN had tried to reach him multiple times. Texts, calls, a long, nauseating voice message about concern and guidance and correction. A bouquet of controlled environment roses delivered to Élan's gate with a handwritten note that read, "We should talk, Élan. I can help you. You always do better under structure." Élan deleted the message. His mother burned the roses in their fire pit. RYLAN Thorne had a talent for making control feel like concern, and Élan spent nearly 2 years mistaking that for love. RYLAN called himself a protector, a mentor, a stabilizing influence. What he truly was, a quietly manipulative, emotionally invasive alpha whose power came from how small he could make others feel. The kind of alpha who locked Élan's phone in a distraction cabinet for entire weekends, who picked his meals for hormonal balance, who tracked his location for safety but never once shared his own, who called Élan's independence self-sabotage, who praised obedience but scolded uncertainty, who convinced Élan he was fragile and irrational and lucky anyone wanted him. Élan left a year ago, barely. Mara had threatened to throw RYLAN out a window. Élan spent 6 months relearning how to breathe. And now the city was whispering about Élan again, about his scent, about his effect on alphas, about how he needed supervision. It was the perfect environment for someone like RYLAN to creep back in, which is why Élan was not ready to handle today.
Today was his first day out again. He had an important meeting with a long-time kitchen appliance supplier at a downtown business hotel, one of those we've always done business this way vendors who needed face-to-face reassurance. As the studio's representative, he had to show up. Cassian dropped him off, warned him twice to call if anything felt strange, and reluctantly returned to his duties with a promise to pick him up afterwards. The meeting itself went smoothly. Contracts, discounts, polite smiles, the usual. It ended earlier than expected. Élan decided to walk a few blocks to a nearby bakery and wait there. Fresh croissant, coffee, and the illusion of a normal life sounded perfect. He texted Cassian about the change of plans and stepped out of the hotel. What Élan did not know was that in the conference center wing of the same building, a large-scale business summit for high-ranking alphas was underway. Dozens of executives, rows of sharp suits, an entire floor of dominant pheromones being held barely in check. As he passed a glass corridor overlooking the conference foyer, his scent drifted through the building's ventilation system. Mild, stressed, convergence-laced. It brushed against one particular alpha teetering on the edge of rut, a high-ranking executive whose cycle was already destabilized by overwork, caffeine, and terrible sleep. Élan kept walking. The alpha did not. Inside the conference room, something snapped. The alpha's rut hit like a freight train. His pheromones spiked, heavy and raw, crashing into every sensitive alpha nearby. And convergence being convergence, Élan's scent acted like a catalyst. One dominant in rut became 3. 3 became 10. The building's pheromone monitors went from mild concern to absolutely not in seconds. Somewhere in the city's control center, automated systems flagged the spike. A moment later, Élan's communicator shrieked with a public alert tone. "Attention!" A calm, urgent voice came over the line. "Heat Alert Level 3 has been issued in District 7. All Omegas must enter designated shelters immediately. Please proceed to the nearest safe station." Of course, Élan thought, staring at the screen. Of course today there is a heat alert. Why not add crisis seasoning to my already flaming life? Which reckless Omega's heat triggered a collective rut this time, he wondered sourly. Officially, the system blamed unstable pheromone activity in a confined environment. Unofficially, in alpha channels, rumors spread quickly, and Convergence Omega's scent had blown through a conference full of dominant alphas and detonated instinct across the room. Élan checked his safety map. The nearest shelter station was close to the bakery he'd been heading toward anyway. Okay, shelter then pastry, he decided, or pastry then shelter. No, shelter first. I hate being responsible. He quickened his pace. Unfortunately, he was still within the radius of the affected hotel. Alphas spilled out onto the surrounding streets, business casual, conference lanyards swinging, pheromones fraying. Raised voices echoed behind him. The air thickened, heavy and sticky with alpha scent. "Hey there, sweetheart. You should be inside. Need help getting to the shelter?" "Back off," another growled. "I scented him first." Where is Mara? Élan thought. Where is God? Why are they wearing suits while going feral? I don't need, he began, trying to keep his voice steady. His communicator beeped again. He fumbled to answer. Cassian? Cassian's voice came through tight. Are you still outside? Maybe, Élan replied, breathless. I'm in the area. There's a conference center incident. Multiple ruts hitting at once. Keep moving toward the nearest shelter. Don't stop. We'll intersect. Why does that sound illegally reassuring? Élan thought. This is not the time to swoon at his crisis voice. Sirens wailed in the distance. Boots pounded on pavement. The air ahead thinned briefly as some alphas turned on each other, snarling over who had the right to escort him. Élan pushed forward, trying not to shake. Then Cassian appeared. He strode into view like a winter storm given a human shape, calm, cold, controlled. Relief hit Élan so hard his knees went weak. He all but launched himself toward the commander. Step away, Cassian said, voice cutting through the noise like a blade. He planted himself between Élan and the unstable alphas. His dominant pheromones rolled out in a controlled wave, sharp, cold, like winter air over snow, threaded with sandalwood and iron restraint. The unstable alphas staggered back, instinct screaming retreat. "Ch, Commander Vale," one muttered, backing off. "Whatever," another grumbled. "He's not worth the trouble." They scattered like feral raccoons caught in a floodlight, some driven back toward the hotel where patrol vehicles were arriving. "Oh," Élan thought faintly. "Oh, that was hot. I need therapy and water, mostly water." "You're shaking," Cassian said, turning to him, voice gentler. His hand brushed Élan's elbow, warm and careful. "Let's get you somewhere safe." "Your home?" Élan blurted. Silence stretched for a heartbeat. "If you're comfortable with that, yes," Cassian said carefully. "Why did I say that out loud?" Élan panicked internally. "Why did I say his place? Why is my mouth unsupervised?" "Yes, I mean, sure, fine, whatever," he stammered. "It's practical." As the city scrambled to contain the rut incident he may or may not have inadvertently triggered by existing near a conference room, Élan walked under Cassian's very protective arm, acutely aware that the Alpha's composure was starting, very quietly, to crack.
Chapter 5. Cassian's Apartment and Accidental Seduction. Cassian's apartment, deep within the Aden Air Force military compound, was one of the safest residential units in the city. It was also infuriatingly him, neat, spare, warm in subtle ways. Clean lines, reinforced windows, a low couch, books arranged with quiet precision, the faint scent of cedar, cool air, and something distinctly Cassian, winter and restraint. "You're safe here," he said, as the doors slid shut behind them. "No one will enter without your consent." "Good. Great. Wonderful. I will now sit on this couch and die quietly." He collapsed under the cushions. "Why does this place smell like cedar and self-restraint?" he wondered. "Why does it smell good? Ugh, I'm doomed." Cassian handed him a glass of water. "Here," he said. "Thank you," he replied automatically. Why did I say thank you like an awkward teenager? Someone reboot me. Mara's voice crackled through his communicator on speaker. "So?" she demanded. "Is he hot up close? Do his muscles look like they can deflect bullets?" "Mara, please," Élan groaned. Cassian coughed, clearly hiding a laugh. Later, after ensuring Élan wasn't about to faint, Cassian did something deeply responsible and deeply alarming. He called a dynamics specialist. Dr. Selene arrived with efficient calm, short hair, sharp eyes, an air of someone who had seen every possible pheromone disaster and was more amused by them than overwhelmed. "Élan Rivera," she said, checking her tablet, age 24, registered Omega, unregistered convergence potential? "Unregistered what?" Élan asked. "If this is a polite way to say emotionally unstable, I swear." "You've never had a full scent classification test?" she asked. "They did basic stuff when I was younger. They said I reacted strongly to stimuli." "That's one way to phrase it," she murmured. She studied a handheld scanner, then glanced at Cassian and lifted an eyebrow. "I'd like you to take a deep breath," she told Élan. "Now exhale. Think about something that flusters you." "I don't get flustered," Élan said. "Think about the kiss," she said, mildly. "Oh my God," his brain shrieked. "Rude. Why is she like this? Do not think about his mouth. Do not—" Too late. The device beeped rapidly. Yes, that would do it," she said. "What does that mean?" Élan demanded. "It means," Dr. Selene replied, "you're a convergence Omega." "Is that fatal?" "Only to social stability," she said dryly. "Great. Love that for me." "Explain it to him," Cassian said quietly, posture ramrod straight, worry tightly contained in his eyes. "Convergence Omegas have a rare scent profile that syncs with compatible alphas. Your scent doesn't just appeal, it amplifies their instincts. Protective, territorial, competitive." "That sounds like a nightmare," Élan muttered. "It can be," she agreed. which is why those with convergence traits are usually registered and monitored for their own protection. Well, I wasn't, Élan said. No, she replied. You grew up outside formal scent education? Her tone turned dry. Raised by betas who thought scent education was vibes and herbal tea. Is that discriminatory? Élan asked, assuming that about my parents. Was I wrong? She asked. He hesitated. Maybe. Your convergence pattern activated fully when you, she glanced at the scanner readout, when you kissed Commander Vale. You don't have to say that out loud like that, Élan grumbled. Please, stop reminding me of my life's worst, best moment. Your traits were dormant, she continued. Mild heats, low scent, that was your system on sleep mode. The kiss and the viral video flipped the switch. Every alpha who watched it picked up enough of your scent to trigger instinctive responses. So, I accidentally mass broadcast my scent and broke the city? In simple terms, yes. Cool. Cool. He stared at the ceiling. I'm uninstalling myself. You didn't do anything wrong, Cassian murmured. Stop saying things like that with your voice, Élan thought frantically. It does things to my nervous system. You're not dangerous, Dr. Selene said kindly. You're just extremely noticeable. That's worse, Élan said. Well, adjust your cycle, adjust your schedule, limit your exposure to crowds for a bit. The council will want a report. Convergence Omegas fall under pheromone regulation protocols. And you need to keep an eye on him. No unmonitored public situations. No crowded spaces with unstable alphas, especially not during heightened heat phases. Understood, Cassian said. Wait, him? Élan sputtered. Why him? Because his scent pattern reacts the strongest to yours, and he's the only one I trust not to take advantage of that. I'm having a feeling. Multiple feelings. I hate this. I kind of love this. Someone turned me off and on again. Hours later, after she left, the apartment was quiet. Too quiet. Élan's brain finally caught up. He had kissed a stranger. The stranger was a high-ranked Alpha commander. Said Alpha seemed to be courting him, slowly, carefully, and was now officially responsible for his safety, and he himself was apparently a walking scent nuke. You should rest, Cassian said. If I rest, my brain will remember things. I'm avoiding that. You're safe here, Cassian said softly. Why are you like this? Élan blurted. Like what? Calm, polite, controlled, annoyingly considerate. Would you prefer I wasn't? He asked. Yes, no, I don't know. Élan threw his hands up. Most alphas I know don't do this. Do what? Cassian asked, genuinely confused. Look at me like I'm not a problem to solve. Cassian's expression softened. You're not a problem, he said quietly. You're something I want to protect. Oh, okay, that's it. That's illegal. Arrest him, Élan thought. Don't say things like that, he yelped. My heart is fragile and my brain is stupid. He paced the room. Rylan looked at me like I was something to control. You look at me like I'm something important. You are important, Cassian replied. Stop, Élan said, voice cracking. His scent flared, soft, warm, vulnerable. Convergence instinct stirred. Cassian's breath caught. Élan, your scent, he said, strained. Oh, crap, Élan thought. Abort. I didn't mean to ping him. He stumbled, hand catching Cassian's arm for balance. Cassian's body locked up. His aura flared and then clamped down, suffocated by restraint. Please, he whispered hoarsely, don't do that. Not if you don't mean it. What do you mean? Élan asked, shaken. You're calling to me, whether you realize it or not. I'm accidentally seducing him with my anxiety, Élan thought. I'm not trying to, he said quietly. I know, Cassian replied. That's why I'm staying over here. You could come closer, you know, Élan said, heart racing. Not if I want to keep my promises, Cassian said. What promises? Élan asked. To protect you. Even from myself. The words landed like a weight in Élan's chest. Why does that hurt in a good way? He wondered. Rylan called it protection when he made me small. Cassian protects me by making space.
Chapter 6. RYLAN'S Intrusion and Cassian Breaks.
The city was still recovering from the heat alert. Cassian's apartment, burying within the secure military compound, should have been impenetrable to civilians and unstable alphas alike. Unless someone had the authority to bypass clearance protocols. Someone like Rylan Thorne. Élan was pacing the living area, wearing one of Cassian's oversized shirts because his own clothes were still drying from the earlier rain. He debated fainting, fleeing, or throwing himself off the balcony, metaphorically, mostly. Cassian had stepped out to speak with Lucien and the Air Force security leads. Lucien had introduced himself when they arrived, a tall, severe-looking beta with impeccable posture, immaculate uniform lines, and the permanent expression of someone perpetually disappointed by everyone's decisions. He was Cassian's second-in-command, the man who handled the logistics Cassian hated, the officer who had once stared down a destabilized alpha colonel without blinking. Where Cassian radiated controlled dominance, Lucien radiated immaculate competence and the subtle threat of extensive paperwork. He had greeted Élan with a polite nod, his gaze sharp but not unkind. "You must be Rivera, the catalyst of our past 48 hours. Please try not to trigger any more alphas while the commander is away. I have deadlines." Then he'd turned to Cassian and added, "Bring him back in one piece, preferably with no new city alerts." Cassian had just sighed. Now, alone again, Élan was pacing Cassian's apartment, replaying that introduction. Lucien seemed like the kind of beta who would scold a hurricane for disrupting his schedule, and Élan was beginning to understand why Cassian trusted him. Then, a soft door chime. Not an alarm, not a warning. Authorization granted. Who? Élan froze. No, Cassian said he'd knock, so... Oh no. Oh no. The door slid open. Rylan walked in as if he owned the place. "Élan, sweetheart," he said. "Uninstall Rylan from reality, please," Élan thought. "Leave," Élan said flatly. 2 City Regulation Council enforcers stood behind Rylan, uniformed and smug. "I came as soon as I read the council reports, the heat alert, the Rut Cascade at the conference, your involvement. You think I wouldn't be concerned." He stepped further inside, ignoring every social boundary as usual. As a Regulation Council official, he gestured to his badge. "I have clearance anywhere pheromone stability is compromised, including military compounds when a convergence case is present. I'm here to bring you somewhere safe." By safe, he means under his control again, Élan thought, over my scented corpse. "I didn't request your help," Élan said, "or your presence, or your opinions, or, frankly, your face." "You've always reacted dramatically when overwhelmed," Rylan said, voice dripping condescension. "Come with me, Élan. You hate chaos. I know you hide it behind a smile, but it makes you anxious. You shouldn't be under military influence. Vale is using this chaos. He'll make a territorial claim before you realize it." "Wow, thank you for projecting," Élan thought savagely. "You did exactly that for 2 years." Élan snapped at Rylan. "You don't understand the scale of this," he hissed. "The council is drafting emergency regulations right now. Your convergence reaction destabilized 24 alphas in one building. You need guidance. You're a danger to yourself without proper oversight." "Oversight?" Élan seethed internally. "You locked my phone in a cabinet so I wouldn't be distracted. Sir, please exit the planet." "Get your hand off me," Élan said, voice low. The elevator chimed. Measured, heavy footsteps approached. The atmosphere compressed, thick with promise and threat. "Get away from him," Cassian said as he stepped into the doorway. Yes, Élan thought, a vicious thrill shooting through him. Season finale energy unlocked. "I'm here under official Regulation Council authority," Rylan said, unfazed. "Your security didn't stop me because they can't. This Omega needs to be transported to a controlled environment, not housed in a military officer's apartment. You didn't come here for regulation. You came here for him, and you misused your clearance to do it. Let go." "Or what?" Rylan taunted. Cassian stepped forward. The floor panels creaked. "You do not want me to demonstrate the what," he said softly. "If Élan wanted you, he wouldn't be standing behind me," Rylan sneered. "I am not behind you," Élan protested. "I am next to this wall like a normal, terrified Omega." Mara's voice crackled through Élan's communicator, apparently unmuted. Élan, I swear I will drive over there with a frying pan. Why? Élan despaired. Why is she always listening? Rylan snapped his fingers at the enforcers. We're escorting the Omega to council facilities. Please stand down, Commander. Regulation mandate. Convergence cases require... I said stand down, Cassian repeated, dropping another octave. Something invisible thrummed. A deep, silent boom of pressure. Cassian Vale, legendary for his restraint, lost it. His dominance cracked outward like a shockwave. The enforcers froze mid-step. Rylan staggered back, dropping Élan's wrist as instinct forced submission into his muscles. What the hell? One of the enforcers choked. You think this changes anything? Rylan demanded, shaking. The council will hear of this. He'll still choose who he wants. Cassian turned to Élan. His expression softened instantly. Do you want to go with them? He asked quietly. No, Élan said. Cassian faced Rylan again. Then you leave, right now, before I stop being polite. Another voice entered the hallway. Lucien, sounding bored and dangerous. Ah! Attempted extraction of a protected civilian on military property. How bureaucratically bold. You can't ignore what he is, Rylan shouted. He's a threat to every alpha in this district. Hello, Élan snapped. Person with feelings standing right here? The only threat I see is you, Lucien said coolly. Enforcers, escort the council official out and revoke his temporary clearance. Restraint cuffs activated with a sharp hum. This isn't over, Élan. You have no idea what you are. I have an idea, Élan thought. I'm someone who is done with you. The door slid shut. Silence settled over the apartment, heavy and warm. Cassian's aura slowly reeled back in. He looked at Élan with raw regret. I'm sorry. You shouldn't have seen me like that. I lost control. I promised myself I'd never... Never what? Élan asked softly, taking a small step towards him. Never use my strength to frighten the people I care about, Cassian said roughly. He truly cares about me, Élan thought. System error. Reboot required.
Chapter 7. Confession and Claim. The air still hummed faintly with the echo of Cassian's dominance, no longer threatening, just the memory of a storm retreating into its clouds. Rylan and the enforcers were gone. Lucien had delivered a 30-second lecture about professional restraint and paperwork nightmares, then left to handle the fallout. Now Élan and Cassian were alone. Élan stood near the hallway wall, arms wrapped around himself. Cassian stood a few feet away, breathing carefully as if afraid to break something fragile. I'm sorry you've had to see that, Cassian said quietly. That loss of control, it's something I've spent years preventing. I promised myself and everyone that I'd never let my instincts take over like that again. He thinks I'm afraid of him, Élan realized. He doesn't understand that I just watched him defend me like a literal force of nature, and it felt safe. It felt like being chosen. He stepped away from the wall, heart pounding. I didn't scare you, he said, voice soft but steady. Cassian's eyes lifted, surprised. Rylan scared me. The council scares me. The whole world finding out about whatever I am now scares me. But you? He drew a shaky breath. You make it stop being scary. Cassian inhaled sharply. I lose control when someone threatens you, he said, voice low and frayed. That shouldn't be happening. I shouldn't be reacting like that. You deserve someone calmer, someone who isn't... Cassian, Élan interrupted. You're calm 99% of the time. You're calm when I'm panicking. You're calm when the entire city goes feral. You're calm when my scent throws tantrums. He moved closer. Cassian went completely still, like a predator afraid of startling a small animal. Today wasn't you losing control. Today someone was trying to take me away, and you stopped him. I didn't want to frighten you, Cassian whispered. You didn't, Élan answered. Their eyes locked. Heat, not rut, but something deeper, wove between them. Oh, moons, Élan thought. I want him. I actually genuinely want him. Not the protector, not the commander. Him. You know what's funny? Élan said, nervous laughter catching in his throat. I doubt anything about this is funny, but go on. I kissed you at the festival to ruin your game, and now... He laughed, helpless. Now you've ruined my ability to stay emotionally detached. Cassian's breath hitched. If you were like RYLAN, Élan continued, you'd have used that kiss. You'd be lording it over me, pushing for marks, for claims, for control, all the things he thinks Omegas exist for. I'm not him, Cassian said immediately. I know, Élan said softly. That's the problem. Cassian froze. Problem? Because now I want you. The words hung between them like a lightning strike. Cassian inhaled slowly, steadying himself. Do you? He asked, voice barely more than a breath. Well done, Élan, he thought. We've said it out loud. No rewinds, no refunds. He stepped closer, close enough to feel Cassian's warmth and the trembling edges of his restraint. Your scent feels like the first cold night after a heat wave, like relief I didn't know I needed, and it makes my brain go stupid, which I hate, but I really don't want it to stop. Cassian's hand twitched, as if he wanted to touch but wouldn't let himself. Élan, he said, voice low, dangerous only in how gentle it was. If I claim you, he swallowed, do you really want this? Not the idea, not the protection, me. Do you want me to claim you? Élan's exhale trembled. Yes, he whispered. He reached up, fingers curling into Cassian's shirt, pulling him just a little closer. I choose you, he said, voice shaking but clear. Not fate, not scent, not panic. You. Cassian's breath came out in a shudder. Then let me choose you back, he whispered. Élan leaned in, tilting his head, brushing his scent along Cassian's throat. Warm, deliberate, intimate. Yours, he murmured. Cassian shuddered like he'd been struck. Something long held inside him finally loosened. He lifted Élan's chin with shaking fingers and lowered his mouth to Élan's neck, pressing a careful, reverent kiss to his skin. Then you're mine, he said hoarsely. Their scents surged, winter and citrus, strength and vulnerability, interlacing and settling around them like they had always been meant to fit together. For a long moment there was nothing but breath, scent, and the quiet, breathtaking certainty that neither of them would ever be alone again.
Epilogue. Domestic chaos and toaster warfare. A few weeks later, the city had mostly calmed down. The Convergence kiss video had been replaced by newer, shinier scandals. RYLAN was on probationary exile, the council had released a slew of new pheromone guidelines, and Élan Rivera was, somehow, living in Cassian Vale's apartment. By choice. The morning sunlight filtered through the kitchen windows in soft, warm stripes. Cassian stood at the counter pouring coffee, moving with that steady, controlled ease that irritated Élan on principle, and also did very illegal things to his heart. Nearby, Élan rummaged through cabinets with growing frustration. Where did you put the cereal? He demanded. Top shelf, Cassian replied without looking up. Of course you did. Élan glared at the unreachable shelf. Why are you like this? Not everyone has tall coworker access to gravitational anomalies. Cassian crossed the kitchen, retrieved the box effortlessly, and set it in Élan's hands. You could ask me for help, he said. I am asking, through sarcasm. It's my love language. Cassian slipped an arm loosely around his waist as he poured a second cup of coffee. He pretended this was an annoyance rather than something that short-circuited several important organs. Fine, he admitted to himself. I like this. A lot. Mara's voice erupted from the communicator on the table.
She had refused to stop monitoring their household like a chaos fairy godmother. So, how is it living with Commander Walking Emotional Crisis? He makes good coffee and growls at household objects. It's weirdly endearing. As if summoned, the toaster popped loudly. Cassian went instantly rigid. What was that? The toaster, Élan said, pinching the bridge of his nose. It startled you yesterday. It popped bread, Cassian. Violently. Do not attempt to intimidate my kitchen appliances. Before Cassian could reply, the door opened without warning. Theo bounded inside like sunlight wearing combat boots. Morning. Are the Convergence lovebirds fully clothed? No, Élan said. Yes, Cassian said at the same time. Theo ignored them both, dropping a pastry box on the counter. He was Cassian's cousin, childhood menace, and the Air Force's self-appointed morale officer. Chaos good in human form. A beta that ran entirely on caffeine, gossip, and the uncanny ability to appear everywhere without using the door like a civilized person. I brought breakfast, and also questions, and also judgment. Please take all three back, Élan replied. How's domestic bliss? Any illegal pheromone incidents? Any appliances Cash punched into submission? The toaster is fine, Élan snapped. It started it, Cassian muttered darkly. Theo barked a laugh. Gods, I love this household. Before anyone could recover, the door opened again, this time to reveal Élan Rivera, Élan's mother, sweeping inside with shopping bags and the dignity of a benevolent monarch. You are not installing surveillance in my son's home. Élan froze. Mama, what? How? Why are you here? I brought groceries, she said, and then kissed his forehead. How are you settling in? Good. No threats, no fights, minimal emotional episodes. That's debatable, Cassian murmured. Élan shot him a look. Don't you start refrigerator shoulders. As if summoned by the sound of impending paperwork, Lucian appeared in the doorway, perfectly pressed uniform in place, a stack of files tucked under his arm. He surveyed the room with the expression of a man confronted by yet another administrative nightmare. I see the Convergence household is functioning. No riots, no property destruction. Impressive. Give it an hour, Élan replied. Cassian and the toaster are locking eyes again. It knows what it did, Cassian insisted. Theo cackled. Gods, I love this household. The kitchen filled with noise, laughter, overlapping voices, clattering dishes. The warm sense of coffee, toasted bread, cedar, winter air, and the faint citrus sweetness of Élan's scent mingled in lazy currents. For the first time in years, Élan felt something he hadn't trusted in a long time. Home. He leaned back against Cassian without thinking. The alpha's hand settled instinctively at his waist, steady and warm. You're thinking loudly, Cassian murmured near his ear. I always think loudly. You're happy. Maybe. Good, Cassian said. I'd like you to stay that way. Élan's chest tightened in a way he no longer feared. Me too, he whispered. The communicator buzzed again. Mara's dramatic sigh crackled through the speaker. Ugh, you're disgustingly cute now. I liked it better when you were feral. I'm still feral, I'm just domestically feral. Cassian's thumb brushed his hip. My favorite kind. Élan smiled, feeling warmth settled deep in his bones, a kind of safety he once thought he didn't deserve. He had kissed a stranger to save an arcade score. He had accidentally triggered a citywide alpha meltdown. He had run, panicked, hid, resisted, fought, survived, and somehow, in the aftermath of all that chaos, in an apartment that smelled like winter and citrus and safety, he found a life he hadn't known to hope for. A family, a partner, a future. Sometimes the best mistakes are the ones you keep.